I've changed it so that OBS is getting input from this mic as well. If it's not coming through the Discord call, yeah. We haven't actually done this, and because it doesn't really work, there's no way to test it. We are going to have a few teething problems. All right, so a big thank you to Shadow and Sid for the resubs. Welcome everyone to my first ever live stream, first ever cooking stream. I am just a home cook. I am not trained in any way, shape, or form. But I thought I would. I can take the headset off now. I thought I would share some of this wonderful stuff with you guys, especially since cooking next week is going to take up a lot of my time. And I still wanted to be streaming because I have just taken the big break. Well, 3 weeks, but now I do apologize if this makes some noise when I unclip and reclip. So we got these little guys. Sid went and got them because we couldn't figure out how to full time. I'm cooking, and I did forget to set up the iPad. Which one is home? Okay. Fingers crossed. Woo! I am still getting a black screen on the iPad. Please tell me you guys aren't getting a black screen. You're actually seeing the video. Yeah, fine for you. Okay. All right. So I can't check it on the iPad. I was hoping that I could see the camera angles and stuff on the iPad to make sure that you were seeing what I was doing, sort of thing. But it's gonna be more important that you guys can see it than me. All right, I will grab the other 2 ingredients. So today we are cooking scones first. They are the 3 ingredients needed is some self-raising flour, cream, like the pretty gooey cream. You're assuming I know how to do that. And some lemonade. Yeah. Okay, the first step is actually, and this is going to be a bit difficult because it is plugged in so that my phone doesn't die, to turn the stove on. Now, I don't know about newer stoves and ovens and stuff like that. Do not have tea towels hanging on those bars if you're going to be using the oven or the grill or stuff like that. Most ovens, that is very unsafe, and you are potentially going to cause a fire. Now, newer ovens might negate that, but all right, so I need to preheat to 210 degrees Celsius. We are in Australia. Now, sadly, my little temperature conversion chart up here gives me 200 or 220. So it's somewhere between 400 degrees and 425 degrees Fahrenheit. All right. I'm gonna need that one. I'm gonna need that one. And I'm gonna need this one. So that oven will keep preheating while I'm preparing this. I'm not really worried about it. First step is flour. Now I do use a combination of flours. So if all else fails, I do have some home brand. I just prefer these containers. Alright, so I'm going to be sitting a lot through this. Unfortunately, a lot of our bench tops and everything are at a height where I'm still bending in some way, shape or form that hurts my back. So that is the reason for doing this at the kitchen table. Now I have had this relatively wet for the last couple of times. And had to add extra flour. So we're going to make sure we tap that, because then the flour settles and you can see it's not as full as it looked like. Now I don't know how this is going to convert. I don't know how this is going to convert in other things, because cup sizes are different. So I actually have, I need to go and get that as well. Even though it's mostly for the next thing we're cooking. That'll help. It's not going to hurt that we've got the extra flour. We are going to need it later. And we can always... I did clean this mat before we started as well with some vanilla fridge wipe, which is food safe. So we need 3 or more cups of self-raising flour for this. I say or more because the recipe calls for 3 cups, but like I said, sometimes it's a little bit runny and you need to keep adding. The other recipe uses less flour, which is why I've used the bigger bowl for this one. So an Australian cup size measuring for cooking is 250 ml, as opposed to the American 237 ml. All right, so we got the 3 cups of flour. I will definitely need more because I will need to put my hands in it as well. And when I'm actually making the scones, I will need to knead the dough and stuff like that. Alright, so we got flour, We have 300 mils of cream here. We need 1 cup again. So that will be 250 mils. That's if I can get it open. A little ring there. So it says thickened cream, but it is very, very runny. I don't know what it would be called overseas. It might be whipping cream or something like that. Okay. I did go a little excessive on that, but it is what it is. And then now I've got to try and do this one-handed. So I do prefer using the Schweppes, but Sprite was easier to get this time. We need the majority of like 3/4 to 1 cup of Sprite. Now, these ones are really, really good to use because they are... Okay, thank you, Sid. These are already 250 mils, so this is 1 cup in a can. You don't actually want the whole cup. That is not going to work. So I found that about 3/4 is... That is a guesstimate, by the way. 3/4. Okay, that feels... Probably because of the bubbles. Like there's too much left in there. And we add that. So this is going to help make it a little bit more aerated, light and fluffy and stuff like that. I am just going to transfer this to the sink, wash my hands. Now, some people may prefer to wear gloves when dealing with dough. I prefer not to. I am gonna move it around, try and make it as good as I can with the spatula before I stick my hands in there. Now, I don't really understand the overworking or underworking of dough. Like I said, I am just a home cook. I just knead it until I am comfortable with the consistency. You're going to try something on your end. Yeah, I still can't see stream. I don't know how to go out and then come back in, so I don't know if it's going to affect the frames. And it's not like I can really touch any of the electronics at the moment with about to have doughy hands. So okay. But yes, please do keep an eye on if it's affecting stream, because we do seem to be having bad internet again today, just nowhere near as bad as yesterday. That was It did not get better the whole time I was awake. So we actually got it to the point where we could at least watch internet TV, but that was literally it. It struggled to post on Discord. It struggled to do just about everything. All right, again, sticking this in the sink. I will need that for the next lot. And yep. And yeah, putting flour on my hands is not going to stop it sticking, but it's going to help. Welcome in, Pogo. We are making scones, so the Australian and English version of biscuits, basically. The only thing different about these, in my experience, I have made both, is the ingredients and the like outcome. And I'm gonna need so much more flour. I think there is definitely flour at the bottom that I might be able to make use of. So basically, we are trying to turn this mush into a lump of dough. And yeah, I gotta sit again. So for a long time, because of my shoulder, I wasn't actually able to bake or cook. So I'm not overly, even though it's been better for a while, it's been a struggle to mentally convince myself that I will be okay. All right, so definitely not a good consistency yet. But it is a lot of dough. So we are gonna move that. Yep. I'm a cat, so I should be good at kneading and making biscuits. So basically, my goal is when it's all coming together and not sticking to everything it touches. It is my first time using the silicone mat. I used to use a really, really thin chopping board sort of thing. But over time, they've deteriorated and this is the bit I hate. Now, I don't know if I'm doing this right or not, but it seems to work for me. Again, it is still sticking. We do have an ad break. I am going to apply a bit more flour though. Okay, well, we're back from the ad break. I did apply a little bit more flour, and it is getting a lot better. There is definitely like bits inside that have been a bit too tacky for me. They're still, yeah, it's still sticking. For me, scone dough shouldn't do that. So the pirog dough that we're going to be making next week, that is a little bit tackier, a little bit stickier. I don't know if I make it correctly or not, because I do try to get a lot of that tackiness out. And I have been told that the aunt who we got the recipe from, my parents prefer her dough but my fillings. So we don't want to over do everything, because we do still want it to rise and be a little bit light. We are never gonna likely to get absolutely everything off my hands. I will probably have to wash them again and recoat them with flour. I can hear some of the air coming out occasionally when I need it, so I'm trying not to do that. I'm gonna, yeah, no, that's massively just stuck. Oh my god. Such is the way with dough, or at least my experience with it. I don't know if we've got any chefs and cooks in the chat at the moment, but I am gonna cut that approximately in half just with my hands. You can see it is still massively sticking, but Net might be killed. Net was killed. Yes. Back again. No, we're back now. I think we were temporarily back, but okay, we're struggling a little bit. I might have added a little bit too much louder. This one when we started shaping it. This one is definitely going to have cracks and seams and things that I associate with scones that other people probably don't. A lot of the ones I had as a kid did have them because they were like homemade, not like perfected. Even when you went to a cafe or something like that, they weren't. Oh god! All right, we're really struggling again now. There's the second one. Third one, that didn't quite require as much work and effort. I think I'm making these bigger than I normally do because I normally make about 16. And this is looking like I'm gonna get 12. Yeah, this one is, again, having a bit of that issue with how much flour I added because it was a bit tacky. It's still a bit tacky, so it will come back together, hopefully. It does seem to be. There are more than a few little cracks, but so keep in mind these are supposed to rise. Don't know that we'll need more of that. We should be good. Maybe we make a few smaller ones with this batch. I didn't realize quite how big I was making them when I was. That's probably a little bit overly small. So yeah, no, my normal ones would be probably this or a little bit bigger. But yeah, probably more about that than this size. But like I said, it is home cooking. It is not, you know, everything gonna look perfect. And yes, the oven has been preheating this whole time, so it is ready when I've made all these up for these guys to go in. So those of you are wondering, because I did mention the differences and whatever. Biscuits, the recipe is a lot more complicated. American biscuits. Honestly, I having done both, I try to do a mixture sometimes between the two because I like the lightness of the biscuits, but I prefer the savory sort of not massively sweetness of scones. So instead of adding like 3 or 4 teaspoons or tablespoons of sugar, I add a little bit because I do understand that sugar can be used to help with growth, with the like yeast process and stuff like that. Um, we might still get 16. So if this makes 8 and that one is 6, I can't math at the moment. If 6 and 6 is 12, then that's about 14. Okay. Because, yeah. Although, no, this one's going to make 5 because there's going to be 2 more out of this. So, I did say it was approximate. And yeah, because I made a lot of these ones bigger. I don't know why our internet is being so horrible. I really don't. We are having a bit of bad weather, so I don't know if that's it or not. It's not exactly. Right. Yeah. Something I also remember from being a kid is that the scones had a little bit of like a. You do, of course, need to make sure that all of it bakes. It is not nice if it doesn't bake, but we'll pick up some of that extra we got lying about so that I'm not cleaning all of it away with a sponge sort of thing. That one is very small. I just escaped, no one caught it. So yeah, I cannot hear, but I can see chat. I can't hear the stream. Alright, I'm going to go wash my hands. Oh, I've got dough trying to stick in so many places. Now I've added my hands and everything that I had up to my wrists of the flour trying to become dough and stick. Now, I think I got everything. It might still be a little tiny bits stuck going around my nails, which I have actually cut. I was good. It's not like everything is stuck on into the food. The oven, because I'm trying not to dox myself, even though I've got like photos on the Discord and stuff like that. I'm trying to be a good VTuber. Alright, we got some baking paper and a tray. Wrap these guys up. Now, the plate is there in case we have extra. I'm a little bit worried as to how these guys are gonna grow with them being so big. So I don't know if I'll fit as many on as normal. Maybe I can fit that small one there. So they should grow up, but sometimes they also grow out at least a little bit. Welcome in. Terraria? Oh, YouTube. Nice. Welcome in, Charleston. Yeah, we are definitely not going to fit all of these at once, so I think I might. I don't normally cook, so you came in on a very interesting day. This is our first time cooking on stream. Alright, so I stuck 8 of these guys. They are going into the preheated oven. I am going to use an oven mitt. Alright. And I am going to tidy up after myself while those are... Okay, so 12 to 20 minutes. Timer for 12. I feel like sometimes they take less than that, to be honest, but... Naisu. Okay, I have no idea what Naisu is. These are scones. If the recipe was different in America, they would be biscuits. We have the tiniest of cream left over. Now, I could probably... No, I don't even think there's enough to attempt whipping in there. And I have a little bit of lemonade to drink if I want to. Drink a bit of water. I am worried about how little flour there is left in that, to be honest. I have winter already over this heat. Oh, I can completely feel and understand that. It is very warm in here. Put that up here for now. Move my very cold coffee, intentionally cold coffee because of the heat. And temporarily move this stuff. That is rubbish. We'll deal with that later. Alright, so delete some and make Australia great again. I mean, you know Australia is known as the sunburnt country because of summer, right? Now, because this is dough, me going over this like this is not going to get rid of it, but it should at least help with the flour. I do intend to spray it again and clean it properly, or at least attempt to, because like I said, I have not used this mat before. I don't know if paper towel is going to suffice. Again, this is vanilla fresh fridge and kitchen wipe that is food safe. I kind of figure it's preferable to trying to clean it with dishwashing soap and leaving dishwashing soap on there. Which, to be fair, is how I used to clean the other ones, but they used to like fit in the sink. Now, if I remember rightly, yes, this is dishwasher safe, so when I'm completely done with it for the day, I can stick it in the dishwasher. But since we... Sorry, guys. I did not realize that the table was shaking quite that much. But I am trying to get all the dough off that is stuck. Hard because it basically goes clear. Okay, I think we're good. Now I'm just gonna look in on those. I'll probably take the cat if I'm not looking that way, like in front of the oven. No, bad. Gonna have to unplug the phone. Right. These little guys are rising. Kind of hard to tell. It is a very old oven. We inherited it with the house. Don't mean you have to be a sunburn as well. True, but then again, that requires going outside. Well, I guess you do go outside. Now, I am going to need a couple of those other things for the next recipe. So while I'm waiting, I am going to quickly clean the spatula and the 1 cup. Now, we do actually have some non-dough ingredients for the next recipe. So we can probably get a start on that. I am a little bit worried about the camera because I know I am going to be very forceful with the knife. And because the camera can't be centered in its tripod, where did I put that? It is a bit of an issue. Okay, I am going to, you know what? I'm going to cover these uncooked scones, and I will probably cook them after the stream is finished. Unless I get time while I'm doing other ingredients. I might get time while I'm doing other ingredients. Oh, come on. Cling wrap doesn't want to. Right. Get the recipe. Get the chopping board. Now, this one is a recipe off of Tasty for 2-ingredient dough. If you search up 2-ingredient dough, you will get many recipes. We are going to do 2 of them today to an extent. Now, I don't actually have things for the bagels, and I don't actually know what goes on top of bagels. It is not something that I have ever cooked before or done before. We got just over a minute. We will have plenty of time to cook the other stuff. I'm losing parsley all over the floor. How much parsley? 2 tablespoons. Okay. I know it's going to be a lot different once chopped, but run water, clean this parsley. And dry it as much as I can. No way I am going to be able to fully dry it. Now, I wish I knew where my herb cutter was, because it'd make life so much easier. But I think I lost it when I moved over here. Alright, and the first batch of scones is actually ready to come out of the oven. Of course, making sure we're careful with the oven mitt. Now, you guys will get to see these because they will be going on the... Oh. Even with the oven mitt that is warm. They will be going on the airing rack. The whatever the baking rack thing rack is called. Some of these look more like scones, to be honest. They are that big. Oh, I can feel the heat coming out from under them. What does everyone think? So the next batch. Okay, and press timer 12. And grab some water. Whew. Yeah, first batch is ready. So yeah, I used to have some scissors that would make very light work of this. I also had a little chopping device where you put the herbs in it and pressed, and it'd completely dice it, which is what I'm after. But probably decided it wasn't something I used very often and could be done without. And there's probably chefs watching me thinking, oh God, that's not how you use a knife. trying to not have the camera fall over again, but you can see it wobbling there. As I am very vigorously chopping. Now there might be a few big leaf pieces in this. I'm trying my hardest. There it went. Oh. I wonder. Can I? Okay. I do have a little thingy next to the table. I had my scone recipe on it. Maybe this will be a little bit more stable for it. And I can not worry about the camera falling over. Put a bit more effort behind my chopping. That is much, much better. Alright, so it might help if I don't put the scone recipe on top of my recipe. I need 2 tablespoons of this stuff. Now that is probably closer to 1. Yep. Oh god, I just realized I'm getting it all over the silicone thing, so I'm gonna have to wash that again. Again, there may end up being big pieces in here. I am doing my very, very best to get it tiny, but and then we even have a little bit extra. Deal with this. I do have quite a few of these ramekins because I actually got them to do single serve portions of shepherd's pie and tuna bakes and stuff like that. Back when I was doing calorie controlled dieting. Might have to. Not going to worry about the chopping board. But I do want to clean. Yeah, because it's got moisture in it. It is sticking a lot. I don't want that in or on the dough until it's supposed to be. But we do have other ingredients before we get to that point, and I'm probably going to have to clean up that as well. So, all right, we are done with the parsley. I will make sure the knife is well and truly away from me while I'm bashing my garlic, trying to get it to separate a little bit. It does seem to work. It does seem to split off 1, 2, 3. I might have got the exact amount of cloves I needed. Some bigger than others, but I have about 2 minutes. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to do much more than peel the garlic before, because if I start trying to crush it or chop it, I am going to get garlic all over my fingers. This is very fiddly. I don't know if it's possible to like use the skin in it, but I don't think so. That would not be my preference or advice. But yeah, it is just fiddly work. I'm definitely going to have to hold this up to my eyes because there is some of this that is not as discolored as the rest of it. No one wanted the pretty kitty. The lipod. Okay, so I think we're pretty, yeah, we're good on that one. 3 more to go. And yeah, that is the oven. All right. Ouch. Probably, consider using tongs for this. I will use that because I might need it for the other ones. It's being difficult. Oh, all right. Okay, I do need some water. And I really should look at the temperature. This. Okay, so this is only 200, not 210. It is, I can definitely feel the warmth. Definitely feel the warmies. I am looking at the iPad and it is so far behind where I am. It's still going, so that's a bonus. But I'm already back to peeling garlic. Two. Ha ha ha. And that did not work as planned. Apparently there were too many layers still on it. So, other end it is. And that didn't work. Maybe? Yep, okay. So it's wonderful when it all comes off so easy like that, although I've got to a corner that it doesn't wanna, yeah. Whew. Again, there's still a layer on that. That broke. Here we go, we're peeling, we're peeling. Got it.